Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Yes, it's me, DD. I apologise for last night. I'll explain to you what happened. Right. Apart from me having a bad day, because my other laptop is gone completely kaput. Right. Lucky enough, this one was delivered. And by the way, they still ain't paid me the £3,315.97 pence or whatever it is they owe me from Evo Energy. But that's just life. I just have to wait. But this PC keeps flashing up with that. That's the old one. Can you all see it? I don't know what it means. Does anyone know what that means? It's a little folder with a question mark in it. And it just started doing it for no reason. And now I can't get access to all the stuff I need to get access to it to transfer it to this one. So it's doing my nutting. But don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and most importantly share. But before I'll show you anything else, I'm going to try it and show you. Do you remember I went out to Northern Ireland? Just to let you know, this has pride of place in Devon, right, as we speak. Northern Ireland, Down, Londonderry, Tyrone, Armagh, Fonar, Antrim, Northern Ireland, and then it says the UVF, right? For God and Ulster, right? They're more English than the English. And yet, a lot of them out there are still noncing about with this British bullshit, right? I want you to read what it says on the bottom. Our wee country, right? And they're far bigger than many countries out there. In fact, the Isle of Man, completely neutral, wasn't in the European Union. I think it's got 100. I think it's got 80,000, maybe slightly more. People live on the Isle of Man. Completely neutral country. Like it's under the English protectorate, but it's a neutral country. It governs itself, and that's exactly what should happen with Northern Ireland, right? And that's the thing. And again, England needs to buck his ideas up. So I'm going to start off by just giving you the bit of a story here. So this is the new laptop using its camera. So I'm going to do a couple of things before I start the actual show. I'm going to ask you as the audience, because you're listen, I only do this for you. So there's two cameras, right? There's this camera on the laptop, and then I'm going to show you another one, right? And I'm going to click to it now. What I don't want is that going everywhere, right? And I've already gone pear-shaped with that, and especially don't want it going there. Right. What have I done? Let me just make sure I've got all that out of the way. It's all right. And I'll get to, hopefully, where we are in a couple of minutes. So there's two different cameras. I haven't set the camera up properly. Obviously, that one is just sort of, I haven't even set where it should be or what angle it's going to be at. But tell me which one you think is better quality in your eyes. Is it the one that's on now, even though I've had to put this down in a different way, right? And then I'll switch it back to the other one. So tell me if that camera, that's a really advanced, when I say advanced, it was about £300. Elgato, it goes right the way out and does 4K if I need it to. But just tell me what you think of that one. And then I'm going to go back on to the other camera. Touch wood. Right. Done it again. I've got wires everywhere. I shouldn't be doing this with wires going everywhere. Right. And then you just got that as it is at the moment. Tell me what you think. Right. just put that back up there. You tell me what camera you think you preferred. And what I'm not talking about the background because I can sort all that out. But if you look at the image, tell me which image you thought was clearer. I mean, the other camera I can zoom in a bit further once I've set it up. You're blurred on this camera, which is probably a good thing. I'm blurred on this camera. I shouldn't be blurred on this camera. The first one. So this is the first one again, the one I originally come up with, right? So there's two cameras. I don't know if we can. So this is the first camera. Remember that. So when I ask you again, which I'm going to ask you, let me put this out of the way so I don't knock it over again. Then I'm going to put it onto the second camera. So the second camera is a different camera, right? The second camera is what I'm looking at now as I speak to you, right? That can zoom in, and that's the camera I was using in the other place, right? So all I'm doing is asking you, is it this camera? So don't forget, I've still got to focus it, bring it in. And so is it the first camera, the one that I was on just a minute ago, or the second camera? So I'm going to go back to the second camera. All right, hopefully. And you will see that because I'll have to adjust the screen to get there. But this camera is more. It is important because I'm going on I'm doing a video link with someone tomorrow, so I want to know which camera to set up. Okay, so you think. So I've got number one DD, and then I've got someone else saying the second camera. Number one. So number one is this camera. But make sure you're not thinking because it's focused in exactly as I am now, because I could do that with the other camera. The camera first is better. You are more realistic. Ugly, but realistic. You sound like the geezer I was at the pub with last night. So okay. So you think the first camera, which is a good thing. Second camera, without a doubt. So Ray Wood says the second camera. Right, number two is better. Second. I'm getting in there. Yeah, the other camera is far more advanced than the camera you're watching on me now, right? And I can tune into it and bring it in and bring it out and do different things. It's only because it's just sitting there because I haven't got the old table set up yet. But once I've got everything, nothing is. Every time I get halfway sorted out in here, I've got a load more boxes turn up with different stuff. I've got a load of boxes I've got to cut up now and get rid of them, right? So I've got to tell you this story, though. So last night, I was hungry and popped out, right? So I popped in the little pub next to me, and then I thought I'd pop up to this other boozer that I tried to find with someone else the other day. It took us about 15 minutes to find a gaff, right? We did find it, but it was shut. It opens at 6. It's for working people. It ain't an all day boozer or anything like that. The geezer who runs the pub is a farmer, right? So he finishes farming and he goes in the pub and opens up the pub, and then all the farm workers and all the workers all come in there, right? But so I've gone in there. I've got a shirt on. It's all gone quiet. So I thought, oh, okay, here we go. Right, and they're sort of looking at me. I'll promise you faithfully, you would never find this boozer, right? You would never find this pub. It took me 15 minutes to find it, right? You actually drive onto a farm as if you're going to be driving into their barns and all that, then turn left again, and all of a sudden this pub's there. You can't see it from the lanes, can't see it outside, you can't see anything, right? And then I've walked into this thing, and then walked in, and all of a sudden there's a boozer, and the geezer just looks at me. I've got on it, and he said, "Oh, all right." I said, "Yeah," like in a northern, a Devon accent. I said, "I'll have a pint of Guinness." It's all gone quiet in the bar, and they're just looking at me. And then some other people was talking, and then there was a couple there that said, "You're not from these parts, then?" And I said, "No, I've just moved in." They said, "Where you moved into?" And I told them, and they went, "Oh, you're our new neighbour, right?" So I went, "Yeah," and she said, "We're the ones who keep walking past you with the dogs." I went, "Oh, right." So so they're in there, right, incognito. And there was more and more geezers in the end. So they left, and then a load more blokes come in. There weren't any women in the pub at all. It was all geezers, all working people, right? And then this one bloke walked in, and I said something to the barman, and then one of the blokes said, "He's hard of hearing; he can't hear you," right? And there was no records or music playing in and that. So he went, all right, and he turned towards me. He was talking, and I could hear him all right. Anyway, cut a long story short, then the geezer had come up. He started talking about them. Like that Nordic spirit. He said, I ain't worked out even to open a packet. And I said, just put your fingers up and clip it open, right? And showed him. And then I said, there's a thing on the top where you put your old ones. And then showed him that. He was like, oh, right. So then he went to me, where's your accent from? You're not from these, another one, not from these parts. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think to myself, oh, here we go. And everyone in the bar started laughing, right? So, I've just found myself talking. I said, no, I'm from London. I explained a few things to him. And then the geezer started talking to me, and he had a South London accent. He weren't from Devon. He said, where'd you come from? And I told him, I said, South East London. He said, whereabouts? And then I said, Erith. He said, that's where I'm from. I said, what, Erith? I said, most people have never heard of it. And then he started going through the roads. I said, yeah. And I said, Manor Road. I said, that's Abbey Carbreakers. That's where my dad had a factory next door. It's General Metal Spinners. And then we started talking about all these things all around the area. And then we started having a few beers. And then and I said, well, why do you go quiet when I come in then? He said, because we thought you was a copper. All right, fair enough, right? And by the way, this gaff only takes cash, right? And I said to the governor, just keep it like that. He said, listen, we ain't changed since we've had this pub. And I said, there's no signs up, right? No, and he went, yeah. Only locals know where it is. We don't want anyone else in here. We just want locals in here. And he said, you're welcome, right? He said, but that's the way we like it. We don't want all these people coming in. He said, I'm not changing this pub for anyone. So he was having a laugh, but some of the things we was talking about last night, literally, it was like going back 20 years, or actually longer than that, possibly 40 years, right? And it was like a proper London pub was when everyone finished work, you went in, you had a few pints, you always got the characters, and that geezer I was with last night, Jimmy, was a character. Then he said to me, and when we started talking about different things, I was talking about various things, and then someone went, is it your car who's got that sign on the back? I said, what sign? And he went, the sign that says, I speak English, not British. I went, yeah, and this is other person. And they went, what's all that about? I said, ain't it obvious? And everyone went, yeah, it is obvious. We're English, not British, right? So I realised that all of these people, apart from one person, was on it, right? And then we started talking about different things. Well, because I had a few beers, and I had a few beers, and I was starving hungry, I went in there for food, right? And he said, no, we don't do food. He said, we only do food Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, right? He said, but, he said, are you hungry? He said, I don't want you, like, if you, I said, I am hungry. So he'd gone out the back, right? And he's brought in some, I think it was slices of beef, right? And he said, go on, you couldn't have, then he had a plate. He said, anyone want it? And all the geezers went, no, give it to him. He's hungry, right? So I sit there eating this. This meat was fucking gorgeous, right? And I munched through that. And then he said, you still hungry? I went, a little bit. He said, let me go and find something else for you. And then he brought out some fucking pickled onions that had been fermenting for God knows how long. He said, tell me what you think of them. I'm like, they was the nuts, right? He said, let me go and find something else. So he's gone out the back, come back. And he come out with a piece of cheesecake like that, right? Massive square piece of cheesecake like that. Well, triangle, right? About that thick. Proper Devon cheesecake, right? smothered it with these raspberries, which he said come off the hedges and we grow them, right? Put it on there. Tell me what you think of that. And I ate all of it, right? It was absolutely gorgeous, right? And don't forget, I'm doing my pints of Guinness at the same time. I said, "How much do I owe you for that?" He went, "Nothing." He said, "He said, you want another pint?" I said, "Yeah." So he charged me for the pint, which is obvious he would. But then he topped it up because he put too much of a head on it. He said, "Guess it, I'll give you a bit," and he put a bit more in it, right? They only take cash. They do not. He said, "We don't want anything to do with the state whatsoever." I said, "Good." He said, "But on a Tuesday night, if you come in here, right?" He said, "See that cow out there?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "She's next." I was like, "Fuck, you know." He said, "You can't get fresher, and you can actually look at what you're actually eating, right?" He said, what they do is once they've done their butchering on a Tuesday night, they'll bring it all in. And he said, if you eat pork, I said, I love pork. And they was all right. He's all right. We like him. He eats pork, right? He comes from London and he eats pork, right? And then everyone was just taking, does everyone remember the old pubs when everyone just took the piss out of each other, right? And it was a laugh. It was never meant to be nasty or nothing like that. You just ribbed each other, right? It was proper banter. Well, in that pub last night, it was fantastic. I'm going to go back up there. I didn't do it tonight. I'll probably go up there tomorrow and just say to him, like, thanks, because that was the first time. And by the way, people, I got absolutely fucking lagging, right? And I lost my car parking space, and I had to and I had to park my car. And he turned around and said, well, I won't say what he said about that. And I said, "Do you ever get the old bill up here then?" And he went, "No." And he said, "If they do come in here," he said, "you'll have 15 fucking tractors blocking them in and they won't get their fucking motor back." Right? There's just like, this is our land. This is our space. It doesn't nothing to do with it. Right? So anyway, we're talking about all these different things. And then they asked me they said, "What do you do for a living then?" I said, "Well, I run a political party called the English Constitution Party, and we also do the English Constitution Society, which is the education thing. And I teach people about England." And I said, Devon is so crucial to England. People don't realise how much Devon is associated with English legal history. I mean, massively, right? The Glorious Revolution, Brixham, and I started talking, and they was all just listening to me and going, wow, right? And then we was talking about different things to do with government. And then we went on to the farmers, right? And I said, it depends what type of farmer you are. If you are a working class farmer, which you all are, right? There was people in there with dungarees on. Let me tell you something. In America, this group of people would be called rednecks, right? But it was just so fantastic. So then I said, "Who's your political party then?" So I've got my card out, membership card, and showed them, put it on a bar, and he took photos of it. He went, "Fucking hell, look at that card," because it says you got the photo of England. And cut a long story short, they fucking loved it. And then the geezer, Jimmy, went to me, "Give us your number." He said, "I don't want to lose contact with you." He said, "Give me a telephone number and all that." And he said, we're all out about and we all know each other. He said, "You like this pub?" I said, "I love this pub," right? It is the best night out I've had in about 15 years. And I'm not kidding you, right? Apart from being on the boat with Tim and being out there, this place is like a place of sanctuary where normal people can talk without any bullshit, right? And no one's having a go for, no silliness in the background, no woke people, right? And so he took my number on that, and then I said to him, "I'm going to stand for election in Devon. If they don't bankrupt me this time round because of this case, then I will be standing." And then there was a couple of people there who went, "I'll vote for you." But we've got to liven this up. And I said to him, there's a difference between establishment farmers, right, old money, and farmers copyhold. So I briefly spoke about copyhold rights. I said who were tenant farmers who acquired then the land belonged to them, and that's who they're trying to rob, right? And they was all listening to me, and I was going, wow. So that was it. We will eventually be bringing back the pub, but tonight I had to go and buy a vacuum hoover, right? So I bought this thing. It looks like a Henry, but it's not. It's called a Jefferson, right? It was on. So this is where Steve took me the other week, you know. And I said, I got a B&Q type thing round it. And he went, no, 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 no. He said, don't do B&Q out here. But what we do is like a farmer's B&Q, right? So I went in there and they had a special offer on a Hoover. I'm not kidding you. I've got it there, right? And it was down from, I can't remember how much it was, over 100 quid to 70 quid on special, right? You couldn't even get it on Amazon for that price. Right, and then all these boxes stand up. Thought, right, I'll have one of them. So just as I clear this gaff out of boxes, I then end up walking back in with boxes. So it's like 1 minute it goes reasonably tidy, and then minute it goes pear shaped. So I've got my Hoover all sorted out. I've got some other bits and pieces. I've got to cut through a load of boxes, and then I've got to I've hoovered out my car. Anyone knows who's seen my car? It was covered in ant powder because when I went to Norfolk, I got invaded by ants. And I think it was because I had the kit laying out in the field overnight, believe it or not. And then the ants invaded that. So when we put it back in the car, they decamped the kit and went all over my car. So I had to put ant powder everywhere in the car, which was still there. And then I went and hoovered all that up today. Then went down a dump, which is about 15 minutes away. Drove round some superb villages. And then once I'm geared up and ready and virtually normalised, but then I went in that, just to finish the story, I went and bought this Henry fucking Hoover, right? Typical, this farmer's place is massive, right? And then they've got a washing thing because I've got no washing machine or dryer here, right? You couldn't really have one here. It's too small, right? I've got a load. The only bit of storage space I had is at the top of the stairs, and I'm using that for all the other stuff, and I've got to go through all that as well. Cut a long story short, right? So I'm standing there, and they've got all these milk machines out the side there where you can buy completely fresh milk, so you're not getting involved with Tesco's and all that. Someone started talking about Tesco's in the pub last night, and I said it was started as a long firm in London. And when I started, they was like listening to what I had to say. People don't know the history of it all, right? But in this gaff, right, that I bought the Hoover from, by the tills, they've got all this cider, right? But all different flavours. Well, I love cherries, right? So all you girls out there, I do love a cherry, right? And I thought to myself, I'm going to buy a bottle of that and see what it tastes like. And it's absolutely superb. Really sweet, though. But you can actually taste the cherry. It's fucking lovely. It's not that strong. I'll say it's not that strong. Ding. But there it is. So it's just getting used to it. I can tell everyone. Got to tell you something, right? It is very, 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 very different. It's a different life entirely, right? When you start, I drive out of here, and all of a sudden you're in lanes that are exactly one car's width, right? If you meet something coming the other way, you have to remember where the pull-in was, and then it appears that both people think, did I have a closer one or did he have a closer one? If you sort of know the road and you just reverse back into that area. So twice today I reverse back, right? So as you reverse back, obviously the other car gets past you, but it's a completely different lifestyle altogether. And I sent a picture. I'm not sure if I can show it or not. Let me have a quick look and see if I can find it on there, because the person may have said no, don't. Right, let me just go and send, because what I don't want is any of this to go out anywhere. Is that you all right? Fucking hell, people are getting fucking nicked everywhere. But I'll send this to myself. I'll send it over to myself first. Media captions are forwarded together. You can always remove the caption. Let me have a look. Right, and then there's another one here. Forward. Hopefully this goes on there. So what I'm going to hopefully do is bring that up on that screen. So I stopped the car just to show someone where I was living. Heads up, your browser may only partly support Square Shot. I don't know what that means. Fucking hell. Brave browser. There you go. Use password. I've got to do all these weird things now. Allow. May not be able to record contents on your screen until it's quit. Right, later. Right, let's see if this works. Window entire screen. All right. Open system settings. Why ain't that working? I ain't got a clue. I'm trying to share this with you, but it don't look like it's going to allow me to share it. I don't know why. Well, I've got to sort that out. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty fucked. So it's because cancel. It's because window. Let me see if that's right. Open system settings. Open system settings. Let me have a look. It's not on there. Brave browser. I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to try and find it at a later time. I'll go back to my main screen. Cancel. Well, I was going to show you that. The basic is I've stopped in the car and I sent a video of where I was, right? Because it's so stunningly beautiful, right? And then I got a video back from that person showing me Bethnal Green and all these Palestinian lot right outside. And this person shouted out because they was banging their pots and pans and screaming about racists and all that. And she went, shut the fuck up, right? So she's at it for days and days and days. This is in central London, in Bethnal Green, right? And all they keep doing is doing that, right? So she went down there, and in the end, she was saying, will you shut up? Because all I hear is you banging your fucking pots outside my fucking window. Just fuck off, right? And they didn't, right? They just carried on as if nothing, and the police is backing them up. They don't care that they're winding up all, the residents that have lived there for years and years and years. But there you go, juicy. I can't make Graham answer questions. I'll pass them on. That's all I can do. Where's the questions? Don't forget, if you put questions in, one of the mistakes that people have been making recently, again, right, put the questions in the full English moderators channel, because otherwise I can't see them. And don't forget, I'm not looking at this 24/7, so I can't see them. Much better quality in a separate camera. Laptop is much more blurred than a separate one. Okay, so the other camera is more advanced. I think you confused them when you were saying 1 and 2. Definitely the separate camera. The laptop, although is easier to talk to, is not as good quality as a separate camera. Okay. Juicy and Lucy had a chat with naturally is in chaos and doesn't have a That's him, but he's added Graham to his list of future guests. Oh, well done. Denise Langham, what happened to the English plaque for Trump? Cossack Chameleon has still got that out there, and we will try and get that through to him. But listen, it's not as easy as we thought it would be. They had problems, I believe, and Graham was trying to resend it. I don't know what that is. Second camera was the better one. Israel Dance with the Stars TV showed. I don't know what that one is. Nicoline Jones Graham. Robert Lowe said USA has a written constitution, as we know, but then says we don't, i.e. England. That's because you mean Rupert Lowe. So Rupert Lowe is a typical Brit with a British education who doesn't understand that we have a mostly codified constitution. We have what's known as a common law constitution. The problem we've got is with our judges and the university system misinstructing people, and those people will then go on and advise people like Rupert Lowe, right? He is being told a lie. We have a common law constitution. In fact, we didn't have. Let's see which one this is. I'm trying to find a little book. I've got one. You've all seen it on the show, right? So I don't care what Rupert Lowe says. He's saying what he's saying because he has been misinstructed. The people who are advising him have been misinstructed, and he is ignorant of England. And that's part of the problem. The people who are being elected have got no understanding of what our constitution is, right? That's it. So has the United States of America got a fully codified constitution? Yeah, but they've got the same problem we got at the moment, which is the judges are corrupt. And the only way you can deal with people that subvert the English constitution and the American constitution is to try them for treason, because subversion of the constitution is treason. That's it. And people like Rupert Lowe don't know that, right? So I'm not suggesting he's a bad person, but he is just like Robin Tilbrook, fucking arrogant, right? Because when people like me that have read this for a very, very, very long time and have come back and said, this is our constitution, even Justice Laws, Sir John Laws, wrote for the Hamlin Lectures, our common law constitution. Sir William Wade, again for the Hamlin Lectures, wrote constitutional fundamentals. But he is so arrogant, right, that he would not even read that, right? That's the difference between someone who is working class and who wants to read for their own knowledge and pass that knowledge on to people like you, and someone who is just an arrogant bastard who's raped this country, and he has raped this country financially, right? He's earned all his money from the country, and he's even said it, I can fuck off anytime I want. Well, maybe that is it. Why don't you all fuck off? We'll sort it out. We'll take the country back. You don't come back here. Let me tell you something now. There is a very thin line between the United States of America, right, and having a fully codified constitution and the English common law constitution. It's a very thin line. What I mean by that is, which is the better system? And the answer is, a codified constitution is a great thing, but not when it goes pear-shaped. And not when the judges are being as corrupt as they are in America. But the English have got the same system where the judges can tweak slightly. So a common law constitution I have always considered to be the better way forward. But as Sir William Wade said in Constitutional Fundamentals, what you really need to do is change the judge's oath, right? So it isn't to the monarch, it is to the Constitution and to England. And then they know exactly where they stand. That's it, right? I hope I've answered the question. Tell her, who's that one? Getting very. What's this one? Hopefully, I've just answered that. Graham, you need to take your address off the website. You mean my old address? I know, but the thing is, to then go and get a forwarding address or a PO box number, you have to pay for it, and it comes to a lot of money. And the more we're doing this, we're shut down at every avenue. So I don't know what to do at the moment about that. But my address, this address, isn't on the website, is it? If you live in these areas, email direct. Yep. 82 watching here. I can't see how many people are on there in total. But again, people are realising now. I mean, when I'm going out, this environment I'm in now is completely different to London. Like, I mean, it's obviously different because it's in the country, but they also understand. They get the English thing completely. And I think that's fantastic because it means you've got a much better chance of someone getting in there and saying, right, well, I'm going to stand up for you then. But it depends what happens. How many people? So don't forget, sharing this is really important. But I mean, really and truthfully, I've come on here tonight, one, to apologise for being absent without leave last night. But it was just one of them things where you've gone out and ended up being out. It was fucking hilarious. But honest to God, proper people. And I think, I mean, that's literally, if you go, there's villages that I've been driving through around here. You just think these are just stunningly beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It's like proper old England. But again, they've got to stop all this nonsense and don't allow people from London or even people like Rupert Lowe who are ignorant, right, to come into there and then start telling them, yeah, well, this is what I think. Well, fuck off, because they're wrong. They've been misinstructed by everyone. Should understand this. Universities was the first target in this country for the Marxists. And from that, everything else leverage is off of it, right? And they knew that when they was doing it. And that's why you got these. And now people think they can just break the Constitution and there's no accountability to them. Well, it's treason. That tastes lovely. Right, let's have a look. I'm glad for you, G. I want to change. I'll tell you what is the nuts out here. If I could get, I don't know, 50 of us to raise the funds and go and buy a gaff, and we all sat on that bit of land, there'd be nothing that anyone could do about it. Right? We would be our own community within the community of England, and as long as you was all behaving yourself, no one would have a problem with you. Lee Buckhurst at Central Devon then. Let me have a look. Tell me more about Don Keith. I don't know who that is. I spent a month in East Sussex, 2 weeks wild camping, and I only spoke to loads of people called themselves English. People are getting it. Yeah, no, more and more people are getting it. But it's fucking off these people. So just to let you, so I'm not having a pop at Godders, but I'm telling you now, people like Godders have destroyed Yorkshire, right? Because they didn't have the peripheral vision to understand exactly what they was doing, right? When we've been trying to tell people what they've been doing, Yorkshire's fucked. It's just as fucked as London. London is dead, right? But we could still take back England and resolve the problems that we've got. But people need to understand how and why it's going to happen and what we've got to do it. We'll be speaking at Rise Above in the flesh in August, bank holiday tickets. Yeah, so if anyone wants to go along to that August bank holiday one, Jacqueline Jones, yeah. But I'll be leaving, so I'm there on a Saturday. I'm staying there Saturday night, I think. And then I'll be coming back early Sunday because I think I've got a dinner around one of my family's houses. Not one of my family, but well, he's one of my family. Sister-in-law's house. She's having a birthday party. Middlesex, I heard it a while ago and just remembered. Nout to see, what's that? Return to the land of the US. We have set up a community. That would be fantastic idea. Yeah, but people don't do it though. You know, they and again, you're always going to have people that you won't 100% get on with, but you've got to have a core value, and the value is England. And then you'll look after each other, which is the way it should be. That's what communities do. This place is a proper community, though. Everyone knows each other. Not much goes on around here without someone knowing what's going on. Can't remember what it was, but he's coming from the States and he's changing the flags or something. If you did not receive an election ECP leaflet in Runcorn, yeah, let us know. Again, I haven't heard anything. I've got to try and get this laptop. Did anyone see when I put it up there and it had that little folder and it was flashing? Does anyone know what that means and how I can get back into the laptop? Case for recount in Runcorn and Helsby. Keith, Dave Covey, infiltrated by Mohammedans. We've been everywhere. I mean, London is completely and utterly. How they take back? It's a bit different in Washington DC. I don't know what the population is of Washington DC, but it's nowhere near the population of London, and you've got a similar problem. Don Keith involved with Tommy Robinson. Don't forget to show your support. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. Crucially important. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe and share. But I am going to be, once we're organised here, I've got to go right through my car and organise what's in it and what's not in it and get all that organised. Then I've got to organise my studio in here so it's set up like it was before, but then there's just a settee there. You've got my kitchen over there. This is a one-up. This is literally a one-up, one-down place, right? It is tiny, but I love it, right? It's growing on me quite a lot because, you know, when you just come back and you think, well, I'm chilled out. It's massive. It's massive. It makes a massive difference in your life. And people are just funny. The case for a recount in Runcorn, Candy Gloss, hello. So don't forget, hit the like button, get it out there. Don't know how many in total are watching at the moment. I think there's about 400, maybe a few more. QQ, did you watch the Liz Truss interview, DD? I have watched some of the Liz Truss interview, not all of it. I don't think I can play the clips, and the reason because on this laptop, for whatever reason, it's not allowing me to play, and I don't know why. Unless I try to bring it up, let's see if I can do it that way, because I do think it's important. What's up? Let's see if I can bring this up. What's up? Log in. Let's see if this allows me to go on it. WhatsApp on the web. Open WhatsApp on your phone, Android, tap link devices. Let's see if this works. Where's my phone? My phone's gone on the missing list. Oh, there it is. I'll have to get up and go over and try and put it on there. But I do want to show them. Isn't it annoying? Whereas, let me have a look. See if this works. Tracy Palmer, 20 to 8. Let's see what comes up here. I'll try and do this while I'm talking to you. Let me have a look. Settings. Link devices. Right, see if this is actually going to work. See if that happens. Continue. I don't want it on App Store, I just want it on that. Let me see if it works. Let's see if this works. I don't know who's done that. There's a million people. I've just got a load of messages. Let's have a look. Well, let's see if this works first. I wanted to show you this before. All right, working on that one, right? Yeah. Hopefully you can see this and hear it. Tell me if you can hear it.
Is what I call Devon. I can't believe I'm living here. Have a look at this. Look,
this is about 2 minutes from where I live, really.
Right, I'm going to go back over that again so you can see it. I've literally just pulled over and there was a car coming the other way and I thought, I'm getting out of the car to take a picture of that. Look at it. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Right, and then the lady I was talking to you about. That's her taking the image.
Shut up!
Right. So let me come off of that a sec. Did you all see that, by the way? Stop sharing. Did you see that? Can I sit in my garden and listen to the cows moon? I can sit in my garden and listen. Yeah, that's what you want. Hard drive or starting disk access. Looking up researching search engine. All right, okay. If it needs an OS reinstalled, according to a couple of sites, maybe using another drive and attach the old one as a secondary drive to read info from it. All right, I might have to do that then. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Full English show, let me have a look. I would get an air horn stand next to her and let it off. How should not say it, lad? Say it, proud. Blah blah blah. Right. Well, where are you, Yold and Wazil? Muck spreading a few days ago. Lovely country smell. Yeah, that's about right. There should be laws about flying foreign flags in England. Well, again, it's getting people to understand that. They don't seem to understand it, do they? Let me see if I can go back to these. I'm going to try and show you this, whether it works or not is another matter. Let's have a look. Jimmy, Jill, where are they gone? Yeah. So what I'm going to try and do is pull that off. I'm going to show you a few of these links, right? Because they are important. So this is Liz Truss, Right, talking about these. So I'll bring these over. Touch would you be able to see them? Right, here we go.
Problem is, the same people are still in charge of whoever you vote for. You've still got the same governor of the Bank of England. You've still got the same people running the Home Office. You've still got the same people in the police force. You've still got the judges that are unaccountable making these crazy decisions, like locking up people for posting on X. And that is what is going on in our country. And
tell me if you can see these. We'll see the
fact is, we have a very powerful orthodoxy that's not just in Britain, it's also there in the Congressional Budget Office that refused to score Trump's tax cuts. It's there in the IMF, who provide the commentary. It's there in Davos. So we are fighting against a massive leftist machine. And all of these issues are connected because they believe migration is a good thing for the economy. So they won't let politicians cut migration. They believe that net zero is good for the economy. Do you remember when Mark Carney was saying that we're going to get all these green jobs and net zero is going to power the economy? No, it's not. The British economy is on its knees. But what has Mark Carney been rewarded with? The Prime Ministership of Canada. So you have all these people circulating, sharing bad ideas, undermining the West, and yet there's just a circuit of those people getting promoted into ever higher positions. But it was 1695 that the free press was invented in Britain. That was before, the United States of America was established. We came up with these things, Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights. I find it utterly shameful that those ancient liberties, which have promoted so much freedom around the world, including, I think, the jewel in the crown, the United States of America, have become completely bastardized in Britain. I mean, imagine people being arrested and jailed for a post on X.
And typically,
this is what is happening at the moment.
And typically a post on X that is deemed anti-Islamic because the post on X will be against a terrorist march in the middle of London or something. I mean, it really is shocking.
Literally somebody was arrested the other day for mocking a terrorist who had been bombed as part of the page. For mocking a terrorist, they were arrested. I mean, and this is not policies that any parliament has passed. These are policies that have been come up with by so-called independent bodies. So they're not legitimate. They don't have the authority of the electorate. They're being imposed on the British people. The whole concept of a non-crime hate incident, which sounds completely Orwellian, no politician came up with that. That was invented by the College of Policing, which is a body that is completely unaccountable. And we now live in a kind of Orwellian state in Britain where lots of people are worried about what they say. And this is the whole purpose. The whole purpose is to cover up what's going on in our country because people know there are massive issues with the grooming gangs of young girls of the authorities not.
They're cutting out what she said there on YouTube because this was clip I think was taken from YouTube. I just want to make sure everyone's clear on this. Do not call them grooming gangs. You are adhering to political correctness by saying that, and Marxist ideology by saying grooming gang, right? They are rape and torture gangs. That's it. That's what they are. That's what you can call them. Listen, when they take a 13-year-old female child and they rape her with a baseball bat and preceding that, they nail her tongue to a table, right? That is rape and torture gangs, right? This is not some grooming of a child for fucking paedophilia, which is, again, a load of bollocks, right? They're just nonsense. But this is organised rape and torture of young white English girls, working class girls predominantly, right? Just to make sure everyone's clear on that.
Not being held to account for that. They know that our economy is in decline. They can see steelworks closing down because of the environmental policies. They can see businesses not being able to start up. And the authorities and the establishment don't want people really to know how bad it is. And that is why they're going for suppressing, distorting, using the mainstream media to try and cover up this stuff.
So you
And it won't work. It won't work. There will be, and there is, a brewing rebellion against this. There really is. And the Lucy Connolly case, people are now coming out and saying she needs to be freed. She needs to be let out of jail.
So does Lucy Letby.
You've got to you've got to repeal the Human Rights Act. You've got to change the judiciary so they're actually accountable.
You should not repeal it. You should make it void and abolish it. It was unconstitutional from the start. Ultra vires, make it void. There is a difference between void and repeal.
At the moment, we have a Supreme Court that was only invented in 2005. We had 1,000 years of the Lord Chancellor, who was a democratically appointed individual deciding who the senior judges were. Tony Blair changed all that. He created a Supreme Court. It's not accountable. You've got to change all that. You've got to make sure you've got a proper judiciary making proper decisions. You've got to get rid of these human rights excuses for allowing.
Right, let me stop everyone there, right? Sir William Wade, one of our greatest scholars in England, in the book and the lecture, Constitutional Fundamentals, he says what you need to do. And one of the things you need to do, right, is to change the judge's oath to an allegiance to England and the Constitution, and to uphold the English Constitution. And the reason why they're lying to people, saying we haven't got a Constitution, we ain't got, because they want to rewrite it. They don't have to rewrite it. It's already there.
Allowing to stay in the country, because that is what is going on at the moment. And you just have to say no to more immigration. So the problem is we have an elite that hates Britain.
They hate the English.
So the problem is we have an elite that hates Britain. So the problem is
they hate the English. Right? I'll say it again. They hate the English. Right. What did you all think of those clips? And I'm very grateful. I will try and do a little video about that and pull that in and then correct some of her errors, right? But you just got to say it how it is. June Gower is still a unionist, she is. Yeah, she is. The problem is people are not understanding that it is the union, it's a political union and of 1706, 1707, which was used as a lever as it advanced in the 1800s, especially after 1812, then into 1815, through to the mid 1800s. That's when they really kicked in to destroy England. And the more people understand that the cause of that was the Acts of Union of 1706, 1707, and it must be made void. And crucially, again, I want everyone to understand this. In 1948 and 1981, the two enactments of the British Nationality Act were the ones that destroyed English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, Cornish identity. The last person to do that was a guy called Joseph Stalin, when from the USSR, he created Soviet, right? And if you was to stand up, which I have been in the High Court, and say I am English, them judges will they're getting to the point where they will hold you in contempt and send you to prison. That's exactly what they did in the Soviet Union. Sent you to the Gulag for speaking out, right? And remember that the Soviets, right, murdered 70 million Christians, particularly Orthodox Christians, but any Christian, 70 million Christians. So when people talk about the Holocaust, I'm not denying there was a problem, right? I would debate on how many, right? And that's a legitimate debate, by the way. But I am telling you that 70 million were slaughtered by the Soviets in the name of the Soviets. So think of British and Soviet as identical because it came from Britain as an island, right? And the people who took control were the British regime, whatever you want to describe them as, right? And they have control. The winks out 270,000. Tracy Truism. If you would like to meet like-minded people or take charge of an email group, please email. Greetings, Merlin. Let's have a look on here. Englander, 270,000. I'll take it you're talking about the Holocaust. Again, people have been brainwashed. And if you want to start trying to debate anyone on that, they call you an anti-Semite and call you a Holocaust denier, right? No one is denying that a lot of people got killed. What I am suggesting is people need to seriously look at what have happened in other. I mean, even if you look at Rwanda, it has been said that more people were slaughtered, particularly Christians, in Rwanda than they were during the Second World War, right? In terms of actual Jews. And if you don't like what I'm saying, all I'm doing is going back and looking at the facts of history, not what you have been programmed to believe from the British regime, right? It's as simple as that. If you don't like it, it's not my problem, right? Yes, the Hollow Hawks. Let me have a quick look. But they won't like it. And people like that Ben whatever will not like people like me, right? But I would have to. I'm talking about the Soviet Union in particular, and we lost the Second World War, right? And the people who took control of this nation, meaning England, were the Soviets. That's a fact. And I'm neither a Nazi nor a communist. I'm not interested in either. Let me see if I've had some messages being brought up here. So it looks like some things I can bring up and some things I can't. Let me have a quick look. Don't know what that's about. Okay. Is there anything else? Because I was going to slip off. I've still got a load of tidying up to do. I've got to do all my boxes, get all this right again, do all the washing up, start ironing some stuff for the weekend. Try at my best to try and start organising this as a studio and then work out what I can attach and I can't attach. And some people suggesting if I was to put a cable from that into, I don't know how, into, there's that one there, which is the power cable. There's that one, there's that one. There's that one. I'll have to work out how I could try and connect it to my other bit of kit that I've got here and see if I can pick up anything from the hard drive. But it's not working at all. It's gone pear-shaped. Thanks, DD. Thanks, everyone. So I'm going to be off. No doubt I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for a live show. And I'll see if I can organise a bit better with this. But I've been in and out like a yo-yo doing different things. But I will eventually get there. That's it. And then next weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend after, Riders Above Radio. And it'll be put in there. I got called Rwanda at the heat of time of all that. Don't know what that means. Juicy and Lucy. That's it. Good night. God bless. And I will see you all tomorrow night. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. And it is. The English Constitution.